hierarchy of power in the DC universe is about to change. Welcome to 52 Pickup, a podcast about the greatest comic you've never heard of. I am, as always and ever, professional comic book expert Alex Jaffe. And with me here in the studio today is the delightful and decadent Gita Jackson.
Hello, I'm Gita. How's it going?
Oh, it's terrific. Another great week in the 52 minds. This is a real humdinger of an issue we got over here.
Yeah, it sure is. It personally broke one man's brain, and that means that you belong in the Library of Congress.
Yeah, this is the one. This is the issue it's all been leading up to, folks. This is what we've been here for since the beginning. The cover we have here, this more than any other issue of 52 is the one that is most defined by the cover. This, of all of the great work that J.G. Jones has done for the series, I think the piece of art that is used for the cover of this issue has been the one with the most indelible impact on comics and culture going forward. It's
kind of funny, in that, that this is the one that has the biggest impact because, I mean, there's a lot that happens in it, but it is, in terms of what makes 52 good, it's not even in the top 10 of things that I think would make 52 a good comic. Yeah.
It's giving very what if Superman was evil. But you don't need, what if Superman was evil, but also he didn't have to be Superman? What if we could make evil Superman his own discrete guy? And that feels like the idea that at least Jeff Johns' Black Adam story has been leading up to this whole time, that we're getting the dark Superman.
Well, that's a question that's never been answered before, and no one will ever venture to answer again, I'm sure.
Well, they did. And the answer was, we're not interested. We'll talk about that next month, maybe. But right now, we can take a little bit of a detour to talk talent, I think. 52, number 45, brings a bunch of familiar faces back into the fold. We got Chris Batista and Rodney Ramos back. They were last on the big Lex versus Steel fight. So it's interesting to see them brought in again for another very action-heavy issue.
Yeah, I really like the inks and the pencils on this one. It is legible, which is great, and also everyone is very expressive, which sometimes turns to comedy, I will say. There is one particular sequence way at the end. We'll get there when we get there, but it's just it's so melodramatic that it becomes really funny.
Absolutely agreed. Let's take a look at this cover. We've got Black Adam lounging back in his chair, just giving, I don't know, how would you describe this?
He's surveying all that he rules over, which is a pile of corpses. It is a comic book cover that I know made an impression on a lot of people.
Yeah.
But I think the most important person it's made an impression on was The Rock.
Yeah. This was the cover that was circulating in all of the promotion of 52. This was one of the first images made by J.G. Jones when they were plotting what 52 would be. This was kind of the mood piece. This is what got the editors of Wizard magazine going, hey, you know who would be a really good Black Adam? The guy who just starred in The Scorpion King, a movie kind of about the same thing that he was really bad in. Maybe he'd be good if it was about a comic book guy?
A guy who's seemingly allergic to making a good film. Yeah. It's just something he can't do. Another thing I thought about while I was reading this issue is that I can see how you would be The Rock, pick this up, and then decide you need to make this movie. Because this issue in particular is all about how Black Adam can kick anyone's ass.
Right.
That's the only thing it's about. However, there's one big casting problem that is not resolved when you see the poster for the Black Adam movie, which is based on this cover. Black Adam has hair.
Right.
To me, I think that's a big part of his, a big important part of his design is that he has hair.
He needs that Vegeta Widow's peak.
The Rock is not going to change his appearance for any film.
No.
That's not going to happen. There's so many reasons why The Rock would not be good in a superhero movie. The function of how these movies work out is that at one point you have to have the hero be beaten and then recover from being beaten. But The Rock is not going to allow any character he plays in any movie to ever be beaten, ever.
And, from a certain self-image supporting standpoint in this age where if you take one scene from anything you make out of context, that becomes the viral thing from the thing. I kind of understand that idea. Because, like, how many clips from movies and TV shows do you get that are in complete isolation from the context to the point that they mean the opposite thing? The I am the one who knocks scene from Breaking Bad comes to mind, for example, where when you view it in the fullness of the narrative, it's about what a pathetic loser he is. But isolated, it's, oh, look at this badass.
Yeah, similar to That's How I Win from Uncut Gems.
Yes.
In that scene, he is explaining to, maybe it's Kevin Garnett, or maybe it's another character, you win when you go out in a basketball game and you fucking crush in a basketball game. I win when I make an incredibly unlikely gamble and it works out. And it's not about how he's going to win this gamble. It's just about how much he loves risk and how much he loves risking even his life, all of his fortune. It is the only thing that makes him feel as powerful as Kevin Garnett.
So I understand why The Rock is so precious about this. It's just bad for storytelling.
Oh, yeah. If the movie, which I saw half of in a hotel room, isn't good, but the one thing that's very noticeable is that it's called Black Adam, but the main characters are two other people that things can happen to.
Right.
Like, they can have an emotional arc, and Black Adam's just around and mega powerful.
It's Black Adam in the same way that the video game Donkey Kong is about Donkey Kong.
Yes, very much so. That is exactly correct. Where Donkey Kong is just the guy that you're trying to defeat, but he does not exactly have an emotional arc to go through. That's Mario.
Yeah. Specifically the arcade version of Donkey Kong, because you can never actually defeat Donkey Kong. It just gets harder and harder until he beats you. I want to talk about the movie poster of Black Adam, which is very clearly a take on this cover, except all of the colors are out. He's bald as fuck, as we've discussed.
Yeah, no corpses.
Yes!
Also,
the main thing that made this cover interesting is not in the poster.
Yeah, well, made this cover interesting to whom, right?
Right.
What made this cover interesting to The Rock is a guy that looks a lot like The Rock being very powerful.
Yeah. I would like to sit in a big old chair.
Yeah, pretty much. A throne, for me, sounds great. And that's it, more or less.
Power sitting. That's the image that he got from this. It just, like, J.G. Jones put so much thought into all of the accoutrement around how these characters are portrayed. There's not, like, any wasted space on the cover, at least when he's afforded the opportunity to know what the hell is actually happening in the issue. And it's a great image for a very dire idea. Just the height of... It's a real reminder that this is not long after Identity Crisis, where the idea of making comics mature was to put a violent rape in it.
Yeah. Subvert all of your Silver Age memories by making them worse in retrospect. Yeah, here also, there's like a sexuality to the actual comic book cover, in that he looks like kind of sleazy in the comic book cover. There's a sleaziness there, and a sense of domination, which has sexual overtones almost every time you try to portray domination.
Right.
In the movie cover, there's nothing for him to dominate over, so he just looks like he's sitting. It's
just him. Whereas there's that real focus in the very center of the image of the boot literally on the corpse.
Yep. Yeah. It's a sexually charged image, but there's no sexuality at all in the Black Adam movie cover. It really is just The Rock kind of blending into an also black background. There's nothing behind him. In the cover of the issue we're about to read, behind him you see ruins, like Egyptian ruins that have been totaled. And there's like a sense of, this is a real space. Where is Black Adam in the cover, the movie poster? He could be literally anywhere. He could be in space. He could be in front of a green screen, which is probably where he was. Like, there's just nothing there.
We're talking about sexuality as it relates to this character, and it's got me wondering. I know the well-told story about how The Rock isn't allowed to lose a fight in a movie anymore, and I wonder if he has a similar rider to, like, the way that he's portrayed in relationships in his movies.
You know, I saw with Tim Rogers the movie Rampage, which stars The Rock.
Yeah.
And while we were watching it afterward, I don't know if this came up in our VG chat. We were both at Kotaku at the time. but we were both talking. It was like, it seemed like he was going to fuck the gorilla. Like, he has a love interest, but the most they get through is like mild flirting, and there's not a lot of chemistry. But him and that gorilla have a lot of chemistry. It's really funny.
I was just wondering if like there's a rule like, oh, if there's a breakup in the movie, she's not allowed to break up with me. I have to break up with her.
I mean, I'm sure that makes it really difficult to write romance plot lines for him. It seems more like he just doesn't want to do romantic subplots in his movies. And I can see why. He's not very good at emoting like anything.
Jackie Chan.
He's just like, he's there to punch and kick, and that's all he really wants to do.
That I can kind of respect. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Ace King. I'm headcanoning it. We open on a funeral. You want to talk about the funeral?
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's go into this funeral.
I love this funeral scene.
Yes, it's great. There's no words at all. No words at all for the first few pages, which is fantastic, I think, personally. It really, but it also puts in contrast the wordiness of the rest of the issue once people start punching and kicking each other. Here, we just get like a really somber and reflectful like funeral for Isis, Adrienne, who died in the previous issue while also telling her husband to become a terrorist. And I think it's beautifully portrayed. The Marvel family is there being the pallbearers and actively attempting to emotionally connect to Black Adam, and he rejects them completely.
I have a theory about why this scene is silent. And I think it has to do with the last time we saw a big ritual in Kahndaq, which was Black Adam and Isis's wedding. And we got this moment that all of this is happening in a very Muslim-coded area. But instead of addressing that, we get all this goofy jargon about the Rock of Eternity and the 7 virtues of man. And it feels really disingenuous when, like, a suicide bomber shows up quoting Moriarty. And I feel like that's a kind of goofiness you can embrace for a wedding, but it would feel really out of place for the somberness of this funeral scene.
Yeah, because the idea of a funeral is, like, honoring the desires of their last wishes in life.
Mm-hmm.
Frankly, Adrienne does not have enough characterization for us to know what that would look like. Does she want a funeral that is in line with Muslim tradition? Would she want another specific funeral that has something to do with the sort of lovey-dovey religion she made up with Black Adam? Would you want, like, to do the funeral rites of Egyptians that Black Adam would probably prefer? We don't really know. She's not really a fully fledged character. So that is difficult to portray. So we end up with a sort of wordless Marvel family funeral.
Yes.
And that feels way more respectful to the character than trying to put words in her mouth. Because all of it would fall flat because we don't have enough time with her to get to know what her needs are.
We get our title drop as Renee Montoya looks on the Marvel family silently fighting as they fly in different directions. Every hour wounds, the last kills. I had to look this up. This is apparently a Latin expression that you find on, like, ancient Roman sundials, which I thought was pretty metal.
That's sick. That's sick as hell.
It's a cool thing to put on a watch. Remember, you're going to die.
Yep, absolutely. They were so into reminding people that you were going to die. That's something that that old Romans love to do. I like the scene between Renee and Black Adam. I like it a lot.
Oh, this is terrific. This conversation in the palace where Renee, clothed in Charlie's hat and coat, comes to talk with him, and they almost connect over their shared grief and loss over the past couple weeks.
Yeah, she is trying to come as Isis's friend. Something that's confusing to me because, again, I don't think we have enough time with these characters to determine who she does or does not consider a friend.
Right.
But Renee considers herself Isis's friend, and she comes as an Isis's friend to say to Black Adam, hey, I just lost someone too. How about we reflect on that instead of go on a murderous rampage? And he is outright just like, no, I choose murderous rampage.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
I think one last time we can say it. She's a friend of Isis.
She's a friend. God. I really love the expressions in these two panels, though.
Oh, they're terrific.
Yeah, this is why you want Batista on a comic, sincerely. Like, this is two beautiful pages, especially when Black Adam's calm, placid expression erupts into anger. I love those couple of panels right there because it's the colors also shift from cool neutrals to really vibrant warm tones. I genuinely like the signal they're about to give you that this is going to escalate wildly out of control.
Yeah. I love the fear that you can see in Renee's eye as Adam's hand is grasping her skull, knowing he could just crush her like a grape at any second.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of my favorite panels in this whole comic.
Yeah. And Black Adam tosses her aside as she attempts to connect with him, saying that he's gonna deal with the fallout from this the way he needs to, and she should go home and do her fucking job.
Yeah, basically. Like, why the fuck are you here? Go home.
Yeah.
Like, that's basically all he has to say.
Aren't you like supposed to stop the religion of crime or something? Isn't that why we found Osiris in the first place? They're still out there. I'm gonna go deal with my shit. You deal with yours.
Yeah. So it's a convincing argument, I would say.
Yeah.
I think a convincing argument for all of America, personally. Why don't you go clean up your own backyard?
It's like, imagine Batman going over to Superman to console him after, like, Lois Lane was killed or something. He's like, hey, Batman, how's the Joker doing? Is he still doing anything?
Yeah, basically, that would be. That's exactly what's going on here. Well, we go to Bialia, which is one of those fictional DC countries that stands in for other kinds of countries. In the capital, it appears that the leader of Bialia is having a video conference with the leader of the religion of crime, and not going well is what I'll say for how the conference goes. The religion of crime is just sort of like, we know that the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse that we sent to Kondak is now taking refuge in your country, but we're not going to stop you from all getting your heads ripped off by Black Adam. Bye!
They're like, how could you abandon us? We dedicated ourselves to evil! And Bruno Mayor's like, can you just listen to the question you just asked me? We're evil.
We've been doing evil stuff. I don't know if you've noticed this, but we
have a whole book in our religion of crime about betrayal. It would be it would be blasphemous for me to not betray you.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. And as soon as they hang up, Black Adam crashes through the fucking window. And to me, this is like the beginning of when the story becomes hilarious. Just for several pages straight. It's just wanton violence. And it's out of control.
Yeah, this is straight up a Todd McFarlane comic.
Yes,
for the next few
does
pages.
Feel like an issue of Spawn suddenly.
Yes.
Like, it's crazy. He explodes. I don't know exactly what he does to the leader of Bialia, but his head explodes. Like,
I think what happened is he throws him up into the ceiling, and his head
That's a crazy way to go out.
impacts on the ceiling into literal shreds.
Fuck. Jesus. Yeah, I wouldn't want to go out like that. That's not for me personally. Oh God. And now it becomes tank battle. Like he just crushes some tanks. It's this, if I was The Rock and I saw that Wizard Magazine article, I would pick this up and then be like, get my agent on the phone fucking immediately.
Right.
Like, this is absolute masculine power fantasy. No brain off, big guns go burr, dudes rock style shit. There's essentially no content here, just violence.
This rampage goes on for literal days, and we like cut to superheroes around the world going like, someone should do something about this.
It's so fucking funny. It's hilarious. They go to the White House and they're like, somebody should do something about this.
Just
and like
the Justice Society turns into Chuck Schumer.
Yes!
I'm going to send a very strongly worded letter. Oh, you better believe it.
Oh, God. It's Mr. Terrific. I mean, wildly out of character for Mr. Terrific to do nothing about this, but it is really funny seeing like Alan Scott just be like, maybe someone should do something about this, and then do nothing.
We cut to Amanda Waller, who has decided to do something about it, and we get the reveal that, yes, as a matter of fact, the Osiris footage was doctored to make it look a lot worse than it was. He'll never get that vindication because he's dead now. But Atom Smasher finds out about that and walks out on her, leaving Waller to assemble her own Suicide Squad.
Yep. This was also, I have to know, in the era of people not knowing how to draw a black woman. Do you notice that Amanda Waller has straight hair here?
Oh, yeah.
Like, what the fuck? Come on. Jesus. Okay, and then we that's already 24 hours at least of Rampage.
Yes.
And then we cut back to Bialya. It's been another day, and the first panel just says boom, and there's mountains of corpses and Black Adam standing in front of an explosion. This is the funniest page in this one to me, because it's just so melodramatic. Wordless again. Boom. And in the bottom of the page is Black Adam noticing a flower, makes him think of ISIS. And then he looks up at the sky, clutching the flower, and begins to scream.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
A Darth Vader-ass no over here.
Yeah, absolutely. He begins to hallucinate and see Osiris and ISIS in the sky, telling him to avenge them.
Yeah. Simba, avenge me.
Very much so. Very, very much so. And then he cries out, looking for death, the horseman, who he hasn't been able to find this whole time.
He's just literally tearing the whole country apart. I don't know why he's doing this.
I don't know why he's doing this either.
Yeah.
Why is he doing all that?
There was no reason to kill millions of people over here.
Yeah, men, women, and children, as now we go into fucking day 6 of this.
Yes.
Where we go to everyone's favorite characters, the Grant Morrison created Chinese super team.
Yeah, everybody loves the Great
Who are
Ted.
also having a conversation about how somebody should do something about this and not doing anything. Although they plan to do something about it eventually.
Right.
It is the point of this. You get more bad dialogue from these characters that nobody knows anything about. Where they just sort of like, seems bad. Maybe China should do something about this. Oh, wait, we're getting news now that China is doing something about this. Okay, great, cool. Seems like they could have stepped in earlier.
Finally, we cut back to Bialya one more time. Black Adam finally confronts Azrael, the Silent King, who his body is assembled from a mass of crows. Again, some real Todd McFarlane shit.
Yeah, this is, like, if this was a movie in the late 90s, early 2000s, this would look exactly like The Crow.
Exactly.
You know? It's so sick. It is, again, if I were The Rock and reading this, and I got to this page, and I saw that a character that people think I should play fights death, which is made out of a bunch of black crows, and wins, I would lose my mind forever.
So Azrael shows up like, you absolute idiot, you fucking chode. You've been killing people this whole time, and you know I'm literally death, so every time you did that, it just made me stronger. And Black Adam's like, whatever, I don't care.
Even more like a Todd McFarlane comic when you do it in that voice. That's your death voice.
Yeah.
This sequence is just literally like a 14-year-old boy's dream of what it's what a child's idea of what a mature comic is what I'll say. It's just incredibly violent. And then also, like, the end result of this is that Black Adam beats death to death with his hands. That's just ridiculous.
He tells him, I am here to tell you, you are death no longer. I am. And you can tell that's something Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was very excited to say.
Yeah, he wanted to say that, absolutely. He does the trick of saying Shazam and then re-Shazamming himself, which causes your enemy to be hit by lightning, which is always fun when a Captain Marvel writer remembers that that's possible. I love that. And then it's just, again, more carnage, more death, etc., 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 until we get to the end of the issue where we go to Oolong Island, and I love this bit. Where
this bit rules.
This bit almost justifies everything that came before it.
We are heading into the best Grant Morrison shit in this entire series, right here.
Yeah. It is the mad scientists on Oolong Island. They are panicking because they've just realized that they were the ones that sent the 4 horsemen to Kahndaq. And Dr. Sylvana finds out right away, he's like, oh, Black Adam's on his way here. And he's so fucking excited.
Yeah. Everyone is losing their shit except for Dr. Savannah because this is the best day of his fucking life.
Yeah, he
has been looking forward to exactly this all year.
Yeah.
Like, while everyone was creating these doomsday devices, you can tell Savannah has been here this whole time trying to figure out a way specifically to fuck with Black Adam. And now it's finally
he got his wish. You put a whole bunch of mad scientists on an island, and don't be surprised when they do mad science.
Like, the thesis of this entire story is the DC universe is chock-a-block with mad scientists, but Dr. Savannah will always be the GOAT. This is Morrison's love letter to Dr. Savannah, and it starts right here.
Yeah, it's wonderful. If you go back and look at this issue, it goes really, really fast. There's not a lot of dialogue in it. There is a lot of punching. I am glad they got such two powerhouse artists, like such a good team on the art itself, because even the moments I find really corny and stupid, like Black Adam getting into a fistfight with Death, they look so good. It sells the content. Without that art, I think this would be twice as stupid.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's really the issue. We've run out of backups. I think it's been a while since we've seen a backup. They'll be back next week, though.
Okay. I was wondering if they were coming back. Is it just back to character bios?
Yeah. There are a few character bios left. We've got one in 46, 47, 44. Most of the rest of the series has character bios. And that'll take us to the end. But for now, we need that space to see Black Adam punching Death to death.
Yeah, it's too bad Death has such a cool design as sort of dated as it is. Because the panel of... There's this whole page of Black Adam just being like, Death, where are you? I'm looking for you, Death, in the carnage of Bialia. And he's preceded by just the sound of crows. And then in the next page, you see his giant, massive floating body with just a trail of crows behind him. It looks cool. I'll give them that. Comic books sometimes are for things that look cool.
I will say we do get to see these guys one more time. There are a lot of spin-offs that come out of 52 Aftermath stuff. One of them was written by Keith Giffen and is overlooked a lot, but I think is really fun. It's called 52 Aftermath, The Four Horsemen. Where 3 of the 4 horsemen come back. Sobek doesn't come back. And we get this kind of boss rush where Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman are all back. They've had their year back, and they get to fight the horsemen.
Oh, sick. Okay, that sounds really sick.
And, like, that's how they make their big return.
You know, there's so many comics. I was thinking about this. I've been doing my own comic history journey because I got so obsessed with Absolute Martian Manhunter that I wanted to see what other books Denise Camp was writing. And Denise Camp is writing The Ultimates, which is from the similarly positioned new Ultimate Universe of, I think it's so interesting. I talk my husband's ear off about this all the time. Those two books have such, or those two universes, those two sort of series of titles that each company is doing, they are so similar in how their tone is positioned, in that the Absolute Universe in DC is a universe about what if the deck was just stacked against every single character and they didn't have all the things they used to be able to rely on. And that's very similar through a more convoluted sort of history mechanic in the new Ultimate Universe that is helmed by Jonathan Hickman over at Marvel, where this universe that we are exploring in the Marvel multiverse has been specifically and intentionally arranged so that all of the greatest heroes never become heroes. And in fact, the conditions for heroism basically don't exist. It's very interesting to me that those are the ways in which these two companies are trying to offer fresh new visions of their classic heroes because they're so similar. I forgot what I was going to say, but I just think that's interesting. My name's Gita Jackson. Thank you for listening to me.
I would say if there was a theme to the Absolute Universe, it would be Rihanna's We Found Love in a Hopeless Place.
That's very much a very accurate theme song for the Ultimate Universe. Man, those are the Absolute Universe. Those are really fucking good books. But yes, I have been reading through all of the previous iterations of the Ultimate Universe and also all of Jonathan Hickman's Marvel work. And going back to work that is essentially contemporary with 52 and thinking about how politics has always been treated in these books is fascinating. Like, the Ultimate Universe was itself very self-consciously also a post 9/11 book. Like, The Ultimates, written by Mark Miller, is a book all about
who's gone full Comicsgate.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that, but unsurprising.
Mark Millar has completely gone off the deep end.
Oh my God. I mean, you read the fucking Ultimates and you can see that seed within him already. Like, it is a book that is so fucking bleak and cynical and nihilistic and also deeply and egregiously sexist on every single page. I just got through the arc of, the Miller arc of Fantastic Four, where he uses Greg Land. And this is where the book that Greg Land got accused of tracing porn for. And you can see why he gets accused of that, because Sue Storm is unable to make any facial expression except for sultry. It is ridiculous how different she looks from every other male character because she's always having to be sexualized. It's wild.
We got a little bit of that in the New 52 with Starfire, very famously. So DC is not without that, but I don't think it ever got that bad.
I mean, Greg Land, his work in the Ultimate Universe, it is reprehensible. It is really, 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 really bad. And it reminds you how far culture has actually come from that time. I imagine I originally got on this rant, I think, to talk about how incredibly good art can really allow you to forgive a lot of writing that is not so good in comics. It's like a one of the privileges comics has over other mediums, and that there's a Sex Pest Warren Ellis comic where it's about a superhero team one of them loses his mind and kills the president of the United States, and it's just nonstop gore. Like, it's like an okay book, but once per issue you see like individual organs from a human being's body, being torn out of them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that's what got me through that book, to be fair, is these plateaus of gore and carnage. Really allows you to forget that there's actually nothing happening in this story whatsoever.
I'm not going to name names, but there are certain big writers at DC currently and over the past, I would say, 10, 15 years, who have kind of skated by on the fact that they are able to make connections with the most talented artists on Earth.
Oh, absolutely. That's so real. Like, again, not to name names here, I don't feel bad talking shit about a sex pest Warren Ellis,
right.
But there absolutely are writers who just make a partnership with an illustrator, and that is what drives the book more so than the actual content of the book. Like, we're lucky that Peach Momoko's Ultimate X-Men is actually really fun to read. Because I think a lot of people would just read it just because Peach Momoko is getting her own book where she gets to do whatever she wants. One of the things about comics that makes them tricky to, for other people who are not into comics to understand them as literature or to understand how they can be read as literature is that just like every medium, the lowest common denominator stuff is really popular, and that's the stuff that is visually really impressive.
I think as dire as the early 90s were for the speculator boom and the Spawn style comics, I think the one thing it really got right was the idea of an artist-first mentality. The idea that these artists are as much contributors to the story as the writers, if not even more so. But I think there was some kind of shift around the time that superhero movies started getting really popular, that all of this comes from the writer and everything else is an expression of what the writer does.
Yeah, I think so also because of the way the movies devalue the source material by not crediting either the writer or the artists.
Right.
Everything about the Captain Marvel movie, you owe so much to Jamie McKelvey.
Yeah.
Literally, just Jamie McKelvey created a new look for Captain Marvel that created the tone that the movie would take. And you can't get from point A to point B without that.
Right. Captain America, the Winter Soldier.
Yes.
One of everyone's favorite Marvel movie before the Infinity War. That was a storyline straight from the comics from Ed Brubaker, who got absolutely no credit for it because it was just a story he wrote. He didn't make any of those characters up.
Yeah. It's made me, I am a mark for this because I'm just a Superman freak, but it's made me respect James Gunn a lot more that he's willing to name the artists and writers specifically that inspired him for the Superman movie. And at the very least, if he can't get DC to pay these people more, then he can say, these are the comics you should read that I read when I was trying to make this movie.
The moment that James Gunn won me over as a superhero filmmaker, specifically for the DC universe, was in The Suicide Squad, where we get a scene where John Ostrander, the guy who invented the Suicide Squad, as we know them today, not the concept of the Suicide Squad, but the whole idea of like villains working on a team to work their sentences off, gets a cameo in the movie where James Gunn, it's an acknowledgement that it's not just this one figure like a Stan Lee guy. It's there are all these different people who across generations and down the line have built this mythology up on each other's shoulders.
It's the idea of giving people their flowers, right? Like the company should be giving them money, number one. But you have to, if you can't do that, if the forces of capital are not allowing you to, which is more likely true, you have to at least respect where these ideas come from. When you watch the MCU movies, it feels like these ideas just come ex nihilo, like from nothing. These characters and stories don't belong to specific creators that created these images and created the words that the characters say. But if you Civil War was not even a major event that happened that long ago, when that movie came out. It feels ridiculous that we're just pretending that the people that have ownership over these characters is the corporation itself and not the individual creators that make the stories happen to the characters that make people want to read about them.
I try very hard not to say that Marvel is better than DC or DC is better than Marvel. It's just a specialization I made when I was young. But I think one of the moments that made me root for the home team hardest was a quote from Jim Starlin, who says that I get a lot more royalties from DC for creating KG Beast than I do from Marvel for creating Thanos.
That's so fucking sad. That's so fucked up and sad. Every time, and I was talking to David about this last night as he was trying to get ready for bed, and I was just going, oh, yeah, honey, yeah, sure, honey. I just get mad when I know how much money that Disney and Warner Brothers make off of these movies. Yeah. When you see legendary comic book creators have to make GoFundMes for their late life care, it is so infuriating. Why aren't we taking care of these people that are the reason why these movies exist?
Let me throw DC under the bus after praising them just 15 seconds ago. The idea of the badass Aquaman was invented by Peter David in the 90s when he made him this like Conan the Barbarian type figure.
Was that when he had a hook for a hand?
That's when he had a hook for a hand.
That's when he had a hook for a hand.
That was all Peter David. And he died an extreme medical death. We just didn't take care of him.
It's fucking ridiculous. To me, if you want to radicalize yourself extremely quickly, if you're listening to this podcast and have been listening to it this long and you're not radicalized, just look at just trace backwards the storylines of these Marvel films to the comic book stories that they're based on. Look at how much money those movies made, and then look at the financial state of the people that wrote and drew those comics. You will want to scream at the top of your lungs. I've talked to some of these creators for journalism reasons, and the most that I've heard that anyone got was a gold watch and an invite to the premiere. They deserve the money for it.
Right. Did you have a favorite scene in this issue?
I sure did. And it's the Renee scene, the Renee funeral scene. Yeah.
It's so good.
Close second is the Oolong Island hype-up scene, but that's more of a prologue to a really cool comic.
The zaniness that's going to happen next week.
Yeah. No, the Renee scene is great because it's just, it's just the writers going, hey, if you were here for emotions, you better leave now.
Yeah.
We're here for carnage. Yeah.
You get a emotion.
I also really like that this is Renee's first attempt at being the question, essentially, before she really takes on the role wholesale. Her first attempt is like, hey, I'm going to do what Vic did to me. when he first met me, and then get completely shut down.
Which is exactly what happens to Vic every time he does it, except this time.
That's so fucking funny.
The Question's entire career is defined by trying these things and absolutely eating shit. And there is no better way for Renee to follow the legacy of Vic Sage than to completely eat shit by aiming too high.
Why she thought Black Adam was a challenge she could take on.
Yeah. She's like, I know that I made this man madder than he has ever been when I was having a threesome when he was trying to give me a medal, but maybe I'm the person who can calm him down.
It's really, really, really funny. It's like the overconfidence of an early sober person, where you're just like, I can do anything. I could run a mile, and then fucking at like 2 seconds into it, you're like, I was an alcoholic for the past 4 years. Wait a second, I can't do this at all.
That is exactly what's happening here. That's my favorite scene too. It's terrific.
I thought it might be your favorite scene. That's why I had the backup ready to go, because the Oolong Island scene. It would be perfect if it just immediately led into what is about to happen. But here, I just love the gleeful, like Dr. Savanas is rubbing his little hands together. He's so fucking excited.
Dr. Savannah was my first supervillain in the first comic I ever read. So I've always had a special place in my heart for him. And here he is just being his gleeful evil best. I love it. I love it.
I love it. I love that too. Do you have anything to throw up on the blackboard here?
I do. I've been thinking, we have not been able to stop thinking about our superhero team that we threw together. Mm-hmm. And I thought we had that sequence here where straight-haired Amanda Waller is trying to draft a Suicide Squad. So I thought, why don't we try to draft a Suicide Squad?
Oh, fun! Let's do it. Okay.
Yeah.
You want to go? So let's say, how many people are on the team?
I think 6 is a good number.
Okay, then let's just switch off.
Yeah, we'll switch off. I'm going to start with the Mist from Starman, a villain who is able to turn herself into a deadly cloud. I think that's very useful for espionage situations. You get some cool visual mileage out of that, and it's a very useful power to have on the team.
I am going to go for the really obvious one just because I like him as a character a lot, because he's just a fucking asshole. Captain Boomerang Jr. I love him.
Owen Mercer, love him.
I love him. I just think he's a fun little rat man to have on a team.
Yeah. You gotta have a Boomerang on the team.
I think so. Yeah. I agree. The Junior is better because he's got such a chip on his shoulder and he's less experienced, so he's going to fuck up more. And he's got a huge ego, which I think that's a great combination for a Suicide Squad team.
All right. For a 3, I think we need a fan favorite. I think we need someone who can create a lot of comedy and chaos. I am going to go with an animated Teen Titans villain. I'm going to go with Control Freak.
Oh, great.
He's the one who is like supernaturally aware of TV tropes and is able to manifest them through some kind of techno magic remote.
That's really funny.
I feel like that could... Basically, having Adam Sandler's clique on the team could be really useful.
I think so, too. Okay. I came up with the next one.
Yeah.
Clarion the Witch Boy from Seven Soldiers of Victory. So the pale-skinned, magic-using, Solomon Grundy creating, tiny little undead pilgrim boy. I love the idea of having a child on the team.
Yeah.
That's my pick.
That's very good. We don't have a lot of women on this team.
No, I was just thinking that too.
The Mist is a woman. So that's one. But I'm hoping that you pick one because my next character is also male, but I can't leave him off. You know him. You love him. Hardest working man in supervillainy. Gotta give it up for my main man, Carface.
Yes. 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 Carface, we need you. We need you, Carface.
Big ol' dude on his chest. He has the power and he has the strength and power and speed of a car. He basically the polka dot man of the team. We need a big, apparently useless idiot who can just come through and save everybody at the last minute. I
did have a female character for my next pick.
Okay.
So it is Livewire.
Oh!
I love Livewire. I have ideas for updating Livewire that I'm loath to share on air because I would love to write this comic someday. But I like the idea that Livewire was once, when she was conceived of as a character, she was modeled on shock jocks, which were very popular. She's an original character from the Superman cartoon.
Yes.
The Bruce Timm Superman cartoon.
Leslie Willis.
And she was modeled on incredible voice acting.
Yeah.
Her whole thing was just, she is a shock jock that gets her superpowers in the shock jock studio, and she uses that persona as her supervillain persona. And I think the inheritors of the shock jock sort of reputation, that's not really a thing anymore. People don't listen to morning Zoo Crew radio or whatever. You know, Bubba the Love Sponge has a much lower listenership than he once did. So who are the inheritors of the shock jock, just say anything to make people offended type persona? It is obviously the Fash adjacent podcast girl.
Yeah.
So that's how I envision this character.
I have a theory about Livewire that I'd like to share with you.
Please.
In 1992, Bruce Timm and Paul Dini created Harley Quinn, who was a huge hit for the company and is to this day arguably their fourth most popular character. And in 1995, a few years later, a movie called Tank Girl came out, starring Lori Petty, basically being a Harley Quinn in a live-action anti-hero movie. So in 97, when Tim and Dini are brought in to do Superman, they're like, well, what if we try to do Harley Quinn again? And they literally cast Lori Petty from Tank Girl to play Livewire. The dots, I am connecting them.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense. That kind of makes sense, right? Like, what if we had a Livewire in the Superman cartoon?
Yeah, what if Superman had a Harley Quinn?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I meant to say when I got distracted. Mm-hmm. I think that probably makes the most sense, especially because Lori Petty is doing the voice work in that first episode that never returns.
Yeah.
It's interesting. She did catch on in that she was added to the main, like, the comic book universe, but she never became as popular as Harley Quinn because I think she's not attached to the Joker.
Right.
If Livewire was Lex Luthor's girlfriend, maybe, but like it doesn't work out the same way.
That is interesting because in that first season of Superman, maybe the second, they do try to attach her to Parasite. So they like have that idea of a duo, but Parasite has never been an A-list Superman character.
Yeah, absolutely. If we're going to talk A-list Superman villains, it's like Lex, Brainiac, and like those are the biggest ones people think of.
Arguably Darkseid,
but he's more a villain of all life.
Of everybody.
Yeah, exactly. It is like maybe that's the thing that has kept Superman media from catching on at large. But Batman is ubiquitous because also he fights cool guys. So when you are in the playground pretending to be Batman, someone else can be Two-Face, someone else can be the Joker.
Right.
If you are in the playground pretending to be Superman, nobody wants to be Lex Luthor because he's a bald fuck. And then I doubt those children know who Brainiac is.
Right. That's what what Batman had that Superman didn't was Bill Finger and Jerry Robinson creating these guys for Batman to fight because Batman is a guy who fights. Batman was designed to be a guy who fights crime, while Superman was designed to be a guy who fights the system. He doesn't have colorful villains because that's not what he was created for. He was created to address inequality, to champion the oppressed, whereas Batman was created to fight crime.
Yeah, absolutely. He specifically is taking on the suspicious and cowardly lot that killed his parents, whereas Superman is meant to be a symbol of hope that people look up to because he's taking on their really specific material problems. He's fighting landlords and loan sharks and racists and all that shit.
It's fun to be a crime boss. It's not fun to be a landlord.
No. Oh, no, I'm the evil landlord. I hope Superman is like, what are you going to do?
I'm raising your rent because I thought of a higher number.
God. Man, being a landlord's not a real job.
Yeah.
If you're a landlord, I'm sorry to break it to you, but you better get a real job because it's not a real job.
It's not a real job, and it's not cool.
It isn't cool. You are lame if you are a landlord. That's what I would say.
Yeah. I think that's about it for this week.
I think so. If you want to send us mailbag questions, what is that email address?
That is 52mailbag@gmail.com. Next time you hear us in the main feed, we will be discussing 52, number 46, where battle stations are ready on Oolong Island. If you are following the bonus feed, which you'll get if you are a subscriber to aftermath.site, we are very soon going to have ready for you our exclusive review and reactions to the Superman movie. James Gunn's Superman 2025. I'm going to see it in a couple days as of this time of recording. I could not be more excited.
I am trying not to lose my mind, but yeah. I'm trying to remember. I'm such a fanboy about Superman that I'm trying to remember that it's okay if the movie's not good, but I think I will die if the movie's not good also simultaneously. You know what I mean?
I mean, I think the movie can't not be good because I'm going to get to look at Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane for 2 hours.
You're making a fair point in that many, many beautiful people will be on screen. I'm reading these reviews of the Superman movie, and they're really confusing to me. Here's Carrie, the Rotten Tomatoes pull quote for the Houston Chronicle, which, they identify as a top critic, but he's not. Carrie Darling has not particularly been a critic that I really care about at all. And listen to this sentence, and let me see if you can identify the problem I'm having with many different Superman reviews. Okay. It's not a great movie by any stretch, but it is a highly entertaining one with a solid cast, impressive effects, and an underlying message of love and respect.
It's not great, but it's everything you could possibly want from a Superman movie.
It's not a great movie, but it is a basically decent, entertaining movie to watch. What? I think, so for me, my whole approach to reviewing film is to ask myself, did I have an enjoyable time watching this, and then why? Because sometimes you can have an enjoyable time watching something that isn't particularly good because it has a few interesting scenes or a charismatic performance, or it is just that pulpy entertainment that you are in the mood for when you see a movie occasionally. And I'm beginning to suspect that some of these reviewers do not follow my same sort of review rubric when it comes to movies of all kinds. I am not going to say a movie like Jurassic Park is like a stroke of genius, but is it a perfect summer blockbuster movie? Absolutely yes. That is what I'm hoping for with Superman, is a summer blockbuster film that makes me remember what it's like to have a fresh popcorn and a slushie when I was 12 years old.
That's the Ebert philosophy of reviewing movies.
Yes.
Does it do what it sets out to do?
Yes. And if I'm going to say what I think that the Superman movie wants to be is an entertaining film with a solid cast, impressive effects, and an underlying message of love and respect. I think that that's what it's setting out to do.
I could see a movie about an underlying message of love and respect right now. I think we need that. I'm so
hungry for a movie about an underlying message of love and respect right now. I desperately need that, or I'm going to lose my mind. Also, shout out to Zach McCullough from Pup, who is the drummer of Pup, who's found out yesterday that on James Gunn's official playlist for Lois Lane, Pup is on it.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, it fucking rules. Pup and Jeff Rosenstock. It's fucking awesome.
Canonically a Lois Lane fave. You heard it here.
Absolutely. Pup. I'm seeing Pup on my birthday. I'm really excited because I am Lois Lane and we have the same taste in music.
Yeah, you're Lois Lane. I'm Vic Sage. The only question that remains to be asked is, are you ready?
What? 52 Pickup is an Aftermath production created by Gita Jackson and Alex Jaffe and edited by Esper Quim with original music by John Aaron. Hosting for 52 Pickup is provided by Insert Credit. The views and opinions expressed on this show are solely those of the show's personalities and do not reflect those of DC Entertainment or Warner Brothers. Please rate and review our show wherever you can and send your questions and comments to 52mailbag@gmail.com. Never stop reading comics.